Hello, everybody. Hi. Um, wow. Super excited to be here, everybody. Thank you, Chanel, for inviting me. And I am just going to give you guys a moment to join and let me know that you're here. So go ahead and leave me a comment in the comment section. Say hello. And if you happen to catch this in replay, by all means, hit hashtag replay, and that'll let me know that you guys have been able to access this video. And yeah, I prefer to have conversations and be in dialogue with people versus giving a presentation. And I think that the topic of supporting families that are interested in world schooling, which is something that I'm absolutely passionate about, and supporting their educational journey is such an important topic. So, yes, thank you so much to Chanel for inviting me. Hey, Ashley, nice to see you. So, if you're here, give me a wave. Hi, Sky, again. Good to see you. So, for those of you that know my story, you know that world schooling is something I'm absolutely incredibly passionate about. And believe it or not, I'm really not going to be talking so much about world schooling today in a general sense. Now, those of you that have been following me for years know that my son and I have been very absolutely public with our journey, and world schooling is something that we have been so incredibly passionate about over our own journey. We are starting, well, July, so starting in 2 days, we'll be starting on our 13th year of consecutive world schooling. And Miro has grown up in the public eye because our world schooling has been so public, and I've shared it. And world schooling is something that I have, again, I can't even say it enough. I've been so incredibly passionate about it. And in fact, many people credit Miro and I both for spearheading the modern world schooling movement. We have been active and vocal in creating community, and that was one of the foundations that helped us to world school and helped us on our own journey. And through being in community and through facilitating, gatherings and retreats, and really supporting our community as it's grown, I've really become immersed and I've learned so many different things. But before I switch into what I'm really here to talk about, I do want to say the world schooling community is absolutely incredibly diverse. We all world school in our own way. And I love that there are all these different voices in this particular online summit talking about the ways that we address education. And that to me is powerful because there is no one right way to world school, and there is no one world schooling guru, and there is no one world schooling leader. And I think that by bringing together all of these diverse opinions and ways of addressing not only the travel, the family dynamics, but the educational portions from a lot of different perspectives. Hopefully, Chanel has really organized and created the opportunity for anybody who's new to this lifestyle to be able to step in such a way that they're not feeling like they have to do it the right way. World schooling is an individual family process, and we are as diverse as the world. So I just wanted to state that. Thank you, Chanel. Thank you to all the speakers that are here. Um, I do have to tell you a little bit about my journey in order to get to the place where I want to start really digging into talking about my specific topic today. My topic today is supporting your teens and tweens through self-directed education as a world schooling family and coming to you as a world schooling mom. I'm also going to talk about deschooling. So, oh yeah, Ashley says she saw the TEDx talk that we did. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm so touched. Thank you so much. I can't even tell you, Ashley, how many people I've connected with over the years that have resonated with that story who sees sort of the normalcy of just a mom and son who stepped out and decided that they wanted to live life on their terms. And there was nothing special about us. We just did it. And by virtue of being vocal and sharing our journey and that became part of the history of the modern world schooling movement. And I'm just so touched that I was able to inspire you, or Miro was able to inspire you in some way. So cool. Thanks for adding that. And I do want to say, at any point, if there are any questions or comments about the things that I'm talking about, please, by all means, put them in. Let's have a dialogue. It's much better than doing a presentation because we are people talking to people, like we are connecting. And that is really the purpose of the work that I've been doing for the last 10 years, which is creating, supporting, and facilitating community and creating space for a multitude of perspectives, diversity, in all things world schooling, to have these conversations, sometimes difficult, sometimes really what is that word? Not easy, uncomfortable. But if we are world schoolers, and to be world schoolers, it's not an easy path. And I guess hey, Sarah, hey, darling. So that's really kind of at the foundation of everything. Those of us that are drawn to working independently through like Chanel's inspiration and her support, and then taking on the educational portion from a totally different perspective, we are already stepping against the current, the flow, the current of the dominant culture. And it's never easy to do that, again, which is part of the reason why creating community is such a powerful, step in this. And before I even go farther about that, I do want to invite anybody who's not in our We Are World Schoolers community to join it. In addition to the Facebook group right here on Facebook, we do have a free membership site called weareworldschoolers.org. And if you're not a member of that yet, drop a comment into this thread with hashtag I want membership or whatever you want to say, and I'll send you a link to register for free. And that is a testament to the diversity and the different ways of world schooling. This website has been written, produced by our community, and it's for all of us to enjoy. And it talks about different styles of learning, different ways of traveling, different resources that we can all access. Yay! Okay, Ashley, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you too, Sky. I will send you guys that stuff. And I guess, do I even have it open? Let me just see. Yeah, I even have it open. I'll just give you a really super quick spin on that because it's created for you, right? So this is the website. Join us in the We Are World Schoolers group. I just spoke in that group on Monday about 5 different aspects that you need because I've been asked for advice on world schooling. But you can find a lot of that information here. So once you've logged in, you have access. And again, it's a free access. You've got access to all this information. So if you take a look here, there are articles on travel, there are articles on working, there are articles on learning or education, articles on world schooling ethics, articles on food, wellness, community, mindset. We started to produce some free mini courses, although some of that content hasn't been updated in quite a while. But there's so much information for you here. And in addition, there is one of the most popular articles on this site is what is world schooling? And you're going to find that world schooling talks about all the different styles and all of the different ways that you can world school. So hopefully you're embracing the concept of diversity and doing things your way and doing it in a way that makes sense for you and your family. All right, so that's my spiel about world schooling. And most of you know me from having conversations about world schooling. So, of course, I had to address that a little bit. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, most of you know our story. Miro and I started to travel in 2009. 2008 is when the economy crashed in California. And at the time, single mom to a 9-year-old child who was constantly saying, Mom, you never spend any time with me. You're constantly, always working. And the truth in those statements just cut my chest like a sword. My heart was so raw because it was so true. And I wanted nothing more than to really enjoy my son's childhood. And I wanted nothing more than to share a life with him. But I was working, and that was in my mind motivated because I had this beautiful child and I needed to provide for him. And the balance of my life in terms of what was really important to me and what I thought I should be doing based on the stories given to me by the dominant culture, by society at large, didn't match up. And there was a lot of tension between what I really wanted and what was really in front of me. And I tell this story so you understand a little bit of the background and motivation behind why we took the steps that we did. And sort of going very currently to today, which is we are in a time of tremendous change. We are in a time of things looking very differently than we thought they would look, right? We are in a time where we can make decisions about ourselves, not because, and about our families, not because, well, it's a casual thing to do, but because the world looks very different. We are empowered, and many people are coming to world schooling now because of the realization that life can be lived on different terms. Life can be lived in a way that is more satisfying and gratifying to the family, to each individual family. And a lot of people are recognizing on the positive side of the pandemic and being locked down, and many children that were originally in a traditional school system were forced to do distance learning, and the relationship to learning and education and how it can be applied is starting to get re-examined. Like suddenly we realize that if the schools and the systems are saying that you can learn from home, well, okay, maybe I can, as a family, learn from home, or maybe I can, as a family, take it to the road and still continue some sense of whatever my understanding is of education. And I think because of being thrown into a time of tremendous change, it's allowed us as families and people new to this concept to really re-examine what's important to them, right? Because the world does look different. Travel is going to look different. World schooling is going to look different. Family dynamics can and will look different. And my hope is education and learning will look different for those that are looking to transition out of something that is no longer serving them. And I think a good part of what my journey was, it was initially inspired by the two things that were a sort of traumatic effect from the outside world was one, 2008 economy crash, which affected my life and my business, but also from the inner world, which was there was a fissure in the relationship that I held so dearly, which is the relationship between myself and my child. And the fissure was showing. It was showing the crack. The crack was showing because the manner in which we were living our lives was not serving either one of us. And both of those inspirations, some may say it was a negative force, created a really positive change. And I think that the resilience to look at things from different perspectives is not only partially what world schooling is about, right? But it's an opportunity to start taking a look at the things that we've thought were part of our foundational reality of understanding the world around us and what the systems are supposed to be doing in order to serve us, and to be able to finally take a look at those things and say, I don't choose this. This is not working for me, and I can choose to question these systems. So the system I may be referring to, which I am referring to, is the system of education, traditional education. Traditional education standardizes our children, ourselves. It puts us through a system of obedience and training. And for many people that are new to this movement right now, they're starting to see the fissures of the cracks in those systems and how those things are no longer in alignment with them. So that's really the first step. And I haven't gotten to the teen stuff yet, but I promise I will. Deschooling is a lot about questioning those foundational thoughts. And it's a lot about noticing when there is programming, or as I like to call them, limiting beliefs or belief systems that are present in our concept of reality, and the recognition that they're not in alignment. The fissures, the cracks will be shown to you when they don't make sense to you anymore. So a lot of people are coming to world schooling because they're choosing to step out of a system, which is that of the dominant culture. And it's not easy, right? It's not easy because there are so many choices that you need to make, right? Choices on how to travel, how to be in the world, how to make money, how to support yourselves, how to manage all of the logistics, how to, of course, what we're going to talk about is educate your families, And finally, how to heal yourself emotionally, spiritually, intellectually as well. How to approach all of these things. The amazing thing about being in a great time of change is we can address these things. We have the time, the space, and the energy to be able to do that. Okay, so let's see. I've already spent how much time going on the outside of the stuff before I actually dig into the stuff that I want to talk about. And that's very common with me. So I just want to acknowledge that if you're frustrated. I am here to talk about my work with teens and tweens and why partnering with them and doing a or committing to a partnership in deschooling for both of you is really the only way that you can support this age group through these massive times of change. So I just touched on what is deschooling. Deschooling is, again, looking at all of these thought patterns that are coming up around a topic that primarily are thought patterns that we've inherited. So one example of this is based on the journey that my son and I had. We left the States. He was 9, turning 10. The very first decision that we made together was we were going to take this world schooling, this journey together in partnership, and he was not going to go to school. And by not going to school, we decided together that we were just going to be engaged, wide-eyed, and open to learning whatever came our way without any agenda. And the without any agenda freed us up to really be present in our own lives and to be curious and to really unpack everything and discuss and learn. And about 8 months into our process, Miro said to me, "Mom, let's not go back. Let's just continue to do this." And for some reason, for me, education or away from school for 1 year, easy breezy, no problem, easy. I have no qualms about that. I knew we'd be learning, and we did learn, and we learned together, and the things that we learned blew my mind. The conversations, the dialogues nothing was contrived. It was in context. It was deep. It was relevant. It was fabulous. It was not based on an age particular that he should be learning. It was based on being a human being in the world. And even when the questions and concepts that were being asked or addressed were beyond what a traditional educator would say is beyond my child's learning level, I didn't stop because of that. I didn't hold back. We had conversations about geopolitics, and we had conversations about all sorts of economics and things that were real world stuff that were relevant to the countries that we were in, that were relevant to our experiences. And the fact that we were learning blew me away because we weren't trying to learn. We were just learning. And when we decided 8 months in to continue the journey, which is still continuing today, the amazing thing about transitioning into a very emphatic yes was that we reframed the conversation from "I'm going to educate my child" to "together we are going to learn." And then unpacking what learning actually looked like, it became much easier for us to intrinsically motivate to be a part of the process, that learning was a participatory thing. And it was also playful, and it was self-directed, and it was fun, and it was in context. And it wasn't just about academics. In fact, it was about emotional intelligence. It was about learning about ourselves and really defining together through partnership what the core values of each of us look like as individuals, what the core values of our collective family look like, what life really looks like. And when we took out the dominant system of education, all of the thoughts about school popped up, like, well, but math, but science, but college. And those were the thoughts, especially in my own head, that I needed to look at and start unpacking. Miro had a little bit less because he was so already engaged and involved and loved being a learner, right? He read books, so many books every week, and it was hard to keep up with carrying around the books. But because I modeled my innate curiosity about life and simply just being engaged, that became sort of the backbone of what and I say our education looked like through partnership. And that switched absolutely everything. No longer did we need a system to define that what we were doing was called education. No longer did we need a system to check and evaluate. And what it really required from me as a parent was trust. I was in the middle of sitting in this process. And by sitting in this process, I couldn't help but to see learning was happening. I couldn't help but to experience the dialogue, the conversation, the curiosity, the engagement in life and with oneself and with the world around and with me. And not only that, all of the previous work that I had done throughout my own traumatic childhood healing through self-inquiry became part of the foundation or structure for us to intentionally get to know ourselves better. So here's the part that most education systems leave out. And they leave out the part of, who am I? Who am I and what makes me tick? Who am I and what are my beliefs? Who am I and how do the things that are important to me, like my core values, guide the way that I move through life? Who am I and what does it mean to learn from the outside world and process it through these inner filters? Who am I? Who am I and who can I be in the world? And those were the kinds of questions that we explored together throughout my son's entire adolescence. One of the things that I teach, and I see Sarah's here, Sarah and I co-teach partnership parenting. And this is an example of how partnership parenting looks, right? It's about the process of going in and doing this sort of self-inquiry work to find out where those hidden agendas are, because those are the things that derail our learning process, our travel process, our parenting process, and our learning process. If there is an intention or an agenda that is outside of ourselves that we're trying to match, that is going to affect the balance of really defining who am I in relation to the things that we're learning. So yes, self-directed education, as many people have been talking about is one of those foundations, but I wouldn't just look at self-directed education through the lens of an individual, right? There are two things you have to look at. It's not just the individual sitting in a vacuum somewhere educating themselves. It's about partnership in the whole family. The whole family is part of this process. And the second thing that you have to recognize when it comes to self-directed education is that it's not just about taking in academic information. It's about having the balance and emotional intelligence, spiritual knowing of self to be able to make it meaningful and make the things that you're learning make sense, to put them into context. So most deep learning, no, let me just rephrase that. All deep learning happens when there is relevance to self, right? You can't just learn, the periodic tables and expect that to stay with you your entire life. It may be a memorization, but you're not really learning anything that is meaningful to you, especially if it's something that you're never going to use. Um, so throughout our journey into education, through education became our journey through learning, right? So the focus on learning was the focus, and it didn't matter what the content was. And the ability to not only self inquire, but to inquire through other means to find information is the skill that every learner needs. So it doesn't matter what the content is, it's the act of learning, the act of engaging, the act of making meaning of the thing that you're learning, which is what is so important. So that became part of mine and Miro's journey. Like I said, we started when he was 9. He is 22 years old now, and we're not living together anymore. He's off doing his own life, but throughout that entire period, we approached our relationship through partnership. We partnered as a family. We partnered by creating and developing 2 businesses together as 50-50 business partners. We are now still working together. We also partnered in facilitating community, like I talked about in the beginning. So his growing up, his journey has been as much about facilitating his own learning journey as well as supporting others. And now, as a 22-year-old, he is empowered, absolutely empowered to learn and do the things that he wants to do in his life. He's been working with a partner, writing a tabletop game, which is incredible. He is teaching for another company, actually not teaching, but facilitating self-directed learners. He runs camps. We also still collaborate, and we are best friends. We're best friends because of the partnership and connection, not only just from the education perspective, but from the life perspective, which is really what Worldschooling exposes us to. So now let me get to working with teens and tweens. So over the past 10 years, I have worked literally with hundreds of teenagers. And since the pandemic happened over the last year and a half, I have been supporting and facilitating teens every single week by showing up for them and creating safe spaces for them to come together, for them to understand and to know and have the experience that there are adults, or there is an adult who will just show up for them, that will be there every single week for them, that will help them when there are struggles, that will partner with them. And by becoming a partner with my son on his learning journey and raising him through a partnership paradigm, it allows me through that experience to know how to partner with other teens and tweens. And what I've been doing for the last year through partnering with teens around the world, all ages, all with different struggles, is to help them create that self-empowerment that I facilitated within Miro, to have access to the language, to use tools, to self-inquiry, through self-inquiry, to understand that they are not identified as the grade that they're in or the level of their education or their abilities. They are whole humans. And many times, having an adult from the outside recognizing that in a young person, it allows them to see a part of themselves that perhaps they may not have seen before. And that reflection and partnership allows them to step into their own self-directed journey. So yeah, I just want to see. I've been rambling for about an hour, which is normal for me. Are there any questions? Or is there an area that anybody watching, is there any place that you would like for me to go deeper? Um, One of the things that I am currently working on, actually, with Sarah Beal, is helping parents on their part of the partnership to help them to de-school, to deprogram some of those thoughts, which then fuel agendas, which distance parents from partnering with their own children. So Sarah and I do help parents through that journey of partnership, deschooling, and also one of the things that is so absolutely 100% important for those that are taking on a new way of being in the world, like choosing a path that's not part of the dominant culture, like world schooling or home education. You've got to, as a family, define what your family culture looks like, right? So we've developed techniques and tools and all sorts of different things to help families do that. Yeah, so let's see if there are any questions here. I've sort of been rambling about many things. I do want to say that I absolutely loved the talk. What is her name? Autumn, sorry. I loved listening to her talk about her experience growing up, although she didn't use the term partnership parent or partnership parenting. She described her own journey through her childhood and adolescence through partnership with her family. And that was beautiful to actually listen to a grown unschooler, self-directed learner who was raised in partnership. And it's such a powerful, powerful journey. So yeah, let's see, anything else? Any questions, guys? Anything I can help you with? All right, then. So I'm going to drop some links into the comment section. Like I said, if you are watching this in replay, please put in hashtag replay. And I will answer any questions in the future. I will also put information about the free meetups that I've been hosting for a year and a half. 2 hour, 4 hours a week for two different age groups, 2 hours for one age group, 2 hours for another age group. This is my commitment to supporting this age group. Teens and tweens are some of the most misunderstood age group, and going through life not having adults that believe in them, that see them for who they are, that can support them, that show up for them. I'm not saying you as parents don't do that, but to not have other parents or other adults that do that for them, it's a really hard way to move through adolescence, because I know I did it totally on my own without any other adult support. And I never want a teen to move through their adolescence unrecognized for the brilliant stage that they're in. Just love working with this age group. There is a question. My daughter 4 and I will start full-time van life in the U.S. next week. Oh my God, how awesome. I'm excited to dive into and learning world schooling. Oh my gosh, learning from life. Take a deep breath, Ashley. It's going to be the most amazing journey. And I think for me, the I guess the biggest gift from world schooling that I got was I was finally empowered to be present in my own life. And oh my gosh, I can't even imagine what my life would be like had I not started world schooling. So Ashley, you are off on an incredible journey, and I can't wait to follow you. So keep us all posted. Yeah, all right, guys. I guess that's it. I've been talking for an hour and 12 minutes. If anybody has any questions for me, or if you're not a member of the We Are World Schoolers group, join now. And also don't forget to put in, I want free membership for the website to get all that information. And if you have a teen or tween that wants free support, that wants to meet up once a week with me and a big group of other teens and tweens, I'll put that information into the comments as well. If you are a parent and you want more support with deschooling or creating your family culture, or as Sarah and I like to call it, ditch the rules, I'll put that information in the thread. Or if you have a teen or tween who's interested in being facilitated in self-inquiry work is so powerful. I teach 2 courses, one for teens 14 and up, 14 to about 22, and it's a combination of group coaching and introducing tools and having lots of really in-depth discussions and challenges and workshopping big ideas, and then being seen and heard and connecting with other young people going through that. And that's for the 14 on up. And then my son Miro and I co-facilitate an 8-week course for ages 10 to 13, and it's all about introducing these big ideas and normalizing talking about feelings. And we gamify how to really identify worldviews and core values and things like that. But we do it in a group, real fun way. Everything is really gamified, and it's a lot of fun. So I'll put that link into the chat too. So doing lots of stuff. I'm here to support you. You can find me in the We Are World Schoolers community as well. And yeah, that's it. Thank you. Bye, everybody.